Hi, my name's Christian, and today I'll be replacing the modern performance tassel on a Chinese straight sword with the traditional functional lanyard. Afterwards, I'll demonstrate a few ways to use the lanyard and how to incorporate it into a form. These days, most swords that you can find in Chinatown or online either come with a tassel pre-attached or with the option to purchase one separately and install yourself. Tassels are a modern product of theatrically based training curricula. Although the soft yin of the strands contrasts the hard yang of the sword's sharp tip, tassels are neither functional nor traditional. You don't have to take my word for it though. See for yourself. The oldest example of a sword-wielding warrior I could find is this detail of a painting from the Tang Dynasty, which ruled between 618 and 907 AD. The lanyard is tied through a hole in the Han-styled disc pommel. A ring, possibly adjustable, closes the loop. This next painting is called Pure Land of Baisha Guru, the Buddha of Medicine, and can be found at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. The left side of this painting contains an interesting detail. The painting is from the Yuan dynasty, between 1271 and 1368 AD. There's a warrior in the far left corner. He's holding an unsheathed straight sword. Look closely at the sword handle. A lanyard is threaded through a hole in the pommel. The warrior has the lanyard looped around his wrist, securing it to his arm. A similar depiction is shown in this section of a painting titled Searching the Mountain for Demons. It was also on display at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. The painting was made in the Ming Dynasty, between 1368 and 1644. The main character is seated beneath a tree, his sword drawn. The lanyard is once again threaded through the pommel and looped around his wrist, preventing him from losing his sword in case he is wounded or disarmed. Finally, this painting of an imperial guard of the Qing dynasty, which lasted from 1644 to 1911, shows a short lanyard threaded through the handle of a curved sword. The lanyard is meant to be worn as in the previous dynasties, securing the sword to the warrior's arm and preventing it from being lost in battle. Most standard Chinese straight swords that you can buy in Chinatown come with a tassel attached to a metal loop at the end of the pommel. Now the simplest way to replace the tassel with a lanyard is to remove the tassel from the loop and then to actually thread your lanyard straight through onto the metal ring. Now this is not recommended because the metal loop is not very strong, and once you've actually threaded your lanyard through, a small tug will actually pop the loop right off. A sturdier method is to actually drill a small hole through the pommel. The metal isn't very thick, so you can start the hole off with a nail and then widen it with a screw, or you can just drill it with a drill bit. Make sure you drill it off to the side because there is a screw that goes through this part of the pommel, but you can drill it either here or here. Then all you have to do is basically thread your lanyard material through, like so. Even up the ends. And then thread both sides of it straight through your bead, like so. Once that's done, you just have to pull on the ends and thread the bead on. And then tie two small knots into the ends of the lanyard material so that the bead won't slip off. Like so. Once that's done, you have a nice sturdy lanyard attached to the pommel and you can adjust it. Now that the lanyard has been threaded through the pommel, it can be adjusted as needed. The loop should be wide enough that the hand can be inserted and removed with ease, but tight enough that if the sword is dropped, the lanyard will secure it to the wrist. If the lanyard is not adjustable, it's best to keep it slightly long. That way, the hand can be inserted through it, and then with a few turns of the sword, the lanyard can be tightened to fit properly. If the lanyard has an adjustable bead, then the best length is to slide it in line with the top of the hilt. This will provide a decent fitting lanyard. When preparing to use the lanyard, hold it against the hilt by the bead or just slightly above the bead between the index and middle fingers so that the loop hangs loosely over the handle. Maintain this grip until the right hand passes through the lanyard and holds the sword handle securely. Most Chinese straight sword forms have a move near the beginning where the sword is transferred from the left hand to the right hand. This is the best spot to put on the tassel. For example, in the standardized 32 posture Yang Tai Chi Jian form, the best spot to put on the lanyard is immediately after the move called 3 rings around the moon. The best place to remove the lanyard is right after the posture known as the sage points south.